Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Alyssa, and on this channel I create budgeting content, planning content, and side hustle content. It is the official 2024 mid-year review. I cannot believe we are halfway through 2024 at this point. Honestly, by the time I'm filming this video, we're like already halfway through July, so it's pretty crazy that August is around the corner and then we only have 5 more months after that, and it just seems like it's flying by. So I figure doing a mid-year check-in will be helpful, not only for me to one day like look back on and really see how far I've come, but just to hopefully like share some inspiration that even though I have a lot, like tens of thousands of dollars of student loan debt, and I'll share that shortly, that it's, you can still work towards other goals throughout the year too, even if you feel like burdened by this debt, which I know for me, I definitely feel a sense of burden of this debt, but I also am really proud of myself from all the milestones I have been reaching this year and will be reaching in the future too. First, let's go over the goals I had for this year. I don't remember making a video for my 2024 goals. I might have just mentioned it through the different YouTube videos. I'll get better about that for the years to come, but I think my number one goal, and I did share it in an update, was I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to buy a condo or a house, and I will be honest with you, that has kind of just gone out the door. I did save what I needed to save. I saved $30,000 for a down payment and closing costs, but I live in Seattle, and the King County is basically where we live. There's another county a little bit down south called Pierce County that's a little bit cheaper, and honestly the only houses I could afford were in Pierce County, and I just really didn't want to live that far south. So I looked at houses, I put offers out, I was always beat out on offers, I toured dozens and dozens of homes that were in my price range, and I kind of came to the reality that, I have a pretty cushy situation here with my rent. I have my bedroom that I'm in right now. I also have an office. I have free parking. The rent is super cheap. I think in total I think it's $810 in rent, and then I pay about, say, like $150-200 a month for utilities. So all in around $1,000. And if I were to have a mortgage, I would easily be looking at $2,500 to $3,000. And that is just for the mortgage. That's not utilities, it's not internet, it's not anything else. And I was like, you know what? I just really can't afford that with the way I have my life living and the amount of student debt I have and the way I'm paid through my job, because I'm a base salary, and then I earn commission, and then I also get an annual bonus. That will actually be changing next year. But it's just one of those things where reality slapped me across the face and said, you're not quite there yet in terms of buying a house. And then if I were to buy a house, I feel like with all the costs and everything, I would just be house broke. I think it would be a different situation if the interest rates were lower, but because they're not, it's just what we're in. So I'm gonna keep renting at least for another year. My lease ends in about a year from filming this video because I re-signed my lease, and I'm very happy with that decision. I'm very grateful for the fact that I do have still $30,000 saved for a down payment if something does come across the market. That's not going anywhere. It's going to remain in my high yield savings account, so it's at least earning interest and I'm earning money off of it. But I think for right now, it's just going to stay there until I figure out what to do with it or decide to buy a condo next year. We'll see. So that goal is not continuing forward. The rest of these goals are, though. Goal 1 was to max out my Roth IRA this year, which is $7,000. My other goal was to pay off all of my credit card debt. My third goal was to really just enjoy my money. I put in a lot of hours, I work really hard, and I have just been so rigid in saving that I forget that I'm only 27 and I should also be living life a little bit too, and not just staying at home because I feel like I'm going to spend too much money, but really getting more meticulous about and I guess I should be more intentional about what I'm budgeting and what's upcoming, so I can enjoy going out with friends or going paddle boarding or going to a nice restaurant, like whatever it is, like having that money allocated so I can say yes to those things. My next goal is to don't spend my high yield savings account interest. And then the fifth and final goal was to increase my net worth. So those are my 5 goals, which 5 is my favorite number. So it makes sense that there's 5 goals now. All of these numbers will be from the end of June. So June 30th, the last day, is when I calculated all of these numbers. So that's what I'll be sharing here. Of course, I've shared other numbers throughout the month of July. So the numbers may be a little bit different, but that's because we're already into July, and that wasn't including the June numbers as well. So for that first goal, which was maxing out my Roth IRA, at the end of January, I was at $2,855, which actually total for my Roth IRA, everything that's invested, it's about $11,145. That was at the end of June 30th, which is great. That's fantastic, but I still have more to get to, right, in terms of the total amount. It's about, $4,145 left for the year of 2024 to get to that 7,000 mark. And then my next goal is to pay off my credit card debt. So I'm almost there, you guys. I'm literally almost there paying off my credit card debt. So my Alaska Airlines credit card has $658 left. And then my Discover card had $213 left on it. I should have calculated that all together, but it's somewhere about $871, I believe, if I do really quick math. So it's good. That's a really good amount. I can't remember exactly where I started. I think it's somewhere around $4 or $5 grand. So to be so close, it's just, I can taste the freedom of that credit card debt. Okay, and what was the next one? So enjoying my money more. One of the things I did do this year is I went to Mexico with some girlfriends. It was a fabulous, fabulous time. I'll post a couple of pictures here of just me. I'm not going to post my friends on here, of just a really fun time in Mexico. We went to Cabo. 10 out of 10, recommend. And so that was me enjoying my money. It was a trip that we booked in January, and we went in March and just had a really wonderful time. Some other things were going to the Oregon coast with my boyfriend. That was kind of more of a spontaneous trip, and I paid for the hotel, and I had all that money saved. And then in November, I'm going to Hawaii, which I'm super excited about. It was going to be a solo trip, but then I have some friends coming with me as well. They're staying in a separate room because they're actually married, and I am staying in my own room. So that's a cost that I'm going to have to pay for, but it's, something I'm really excited about. 2 vacations a year, I get how that's a very privileged perspective because I'm 27. While I am in a relationship, I'm not married, so I do have a bit more of freedom and autonomy to book trips like this. So I'm excited for that, and I think I am definitely hitting those goals. Even if I wasn't going to Hawaii, I feel like I am really, really hitting that goal this year. And obviously that's not a goal that can really be monetized, right? I am keeping track of all of my expenses for Hawaii, and after I come back, I do plan on doing a whole recap video of what everything costs, from the hotel to the flights to the food to the excursions that we've booked, and just doing a whole recap video of what you could expect if you wanted to go. Of course, there's way more that's going to be into that. But a little foreshadowing here, or a little spoiler, I should say, is that it's already more expensive than my trip to Mexico because we stayed at an all-inclusive. So I love Hawaii. I think it's so fun, and I got a great deal on flights. That's why we're pretty much going there. But I think I might stick with all-inclusive because it's just a way better bang for your buck, and you don't have to worry about food and all of that stuff. Then the next amount, or the next goal, was don't spend my high yield savings account interest. So I'll put a screenshot up here. I believe it was about $900 something, $911.70 of interest I've earned for the first 6 months of 2024, which you do have to pay taxes off of that. So it's not free money, but it is free money at the end of the day. I'm going to take about 20% off of that, which is going to be about $700, somewhere around there. And that's money that I might end up putting into my Roth at the end of the year, or I might put it towards 2025 goals or sinking funds, but we'll figure that out probably closer towards, probably after the year has actually started. Once we do get to like January 1st and like I'm no longer earning interest from 2024, I will basically cash that out in terms of transferring it just internally in my Ally account, saving 20% for taxes at the end of the year, and then putting the rest towards whatever my allocated thought is at that point, whatever my top goal is, because we still have got 6 more months of the year. So I may reach other goals before then, and we'll figure out what the top goal is and put the money towards that. And then the increasing my net worth. So let's talk about net worth, because it's a great segue into the next part of this, is something I don't think I've ever shared on my YouTube channel. It's a bit vulnerable, so please be kind in the comment section if you think I'm absolutely outrageous and crazy for having this amount of debt, but it is what it is. I can't get out of it. Again, it is what it is. But let's start with the fun part. Let's start with the assets. Like, what are the positive things of the net worth? So of my Ally account, so this is my high yield savings account. And keep in mind, none of these numbers include stuff in my checking account. I don't really take that into account because I zero it out basically every month. And so I just don't account for that every month because I either pay off credit card debt, I put it towards savings, I put it towards my Roth, whatever, the top goal is at that moment. So my Ally, my high yield savings account has $46,588. And remember, $30,000 of that is towards my house savings. Other amounts is towards like car insurance, car registration, vacation fund, deductibles. I'm trying to remember all of the things. And my emergency fund, which is $10,000. So I guess $40,000 of that is for house and emergency fund, and then the other $6,500 is for like various sinking funds. And then of course of that amount, the $911 is included in that. That was the interest I've earned so far this year. And then that's like the biggest, actually it's not the biggest one. The next one will be the biggest one, which is my investments. So between my work 401k, my brokerage, and my Roth IRA, which I already told you is about $11,000, those total investments are $70,879. So again, that's 3 different things. My work 401k, my brokerage, which is just my regular like investment portfolio, and then my Roth IRA. The only thing I add to on a monthly basis is my work 401k. It just comes out of my paycheck. I don't show that on YouTube. I basically just take whatever's left over after they've taken all of that out, and that's what I have to work with for the month. I kind of just don't even think about it, but I do keep track every month when I get the statement. And then the Roth IRA, I do put money into that, which we've already talked about. And then my car value, I am thinking of this as an asset, and I have my car value at about $4,000. I drive a normal Nissan sedan, and it's worth probably a little bit more than that if I were to sell it on the private market. Probably a little bit less if I were to trade it in, but I am putting $4,000, and over the next 4 months, I'm actually going to decrease it to $3,000. So I'm going to take $250 off every month until it gets to that $3,000 mark. I think that's a more rough estimate of if I had to go get a new car for some reason. I will buy a used car to be new to me, but if I had to go get a different car for some reason, I do feel like that is an asset. I will get some sort of compensation for it. So I'm going to lower that to $3,000 in the months to come. But for right now, I had it as $4,000. And then my checking account cushion, which is just a separate checking account that I have within my normal bank that my like daily debit card is attached to. It's just separate, so I can e-transfer if I wanted to. I don't have a debit card attached to this, but that has $399. For some reason, they started charging me $5 a month to just have the account, which is so strange because I've had various amounts in that account. Most of the time it's below 500, and they've just like started charging me. So I don't know about that. I might just keep it because it is the account I use to transfer a lot of money. So we'll see. But if you add that all up, so the Ally, the investments, the car value, and the cushion, my total assets is $121,836. Let me say that again, $121,836. So those are how much assets I have, which it's crazy. We'll get to the next part and you'll be like, okay, yeah, you're not that cool for having that amount of assets because your net worth sucks. But I guess it's something to be proud of for being 27 and having over 120,000 in assets, and the amount that I really do put towards them. And of course, that will hopefully continue growing because so much of it is invested. So on to the liabilities, which, you know, your net worth is essentially your assets minus the liabilities. And my credit card debt is $871, which we talked about earlier, so I did do my math correctly. But my student loan debt, it goes down by about either $800 to $1,000 a month because I put money towards it and it basically pays off the interest. And then my mom, which I'm so grateful for, does put some money towards both my sister's and my student loan debt, which I know that's a very privileged thing, but just to keep it real. But some months she does that and some months she doesn't. But, you know, it's all up to me to pay this off at the end of the day. She doesn't have to do that. So my total student loan debt is $179,602. So just shy of 180. It's just comical at this point. Like I've known for so many years how much student loan debt I've had. I mean, thank goodness for the forbearance during the COVID. I was reflecting on that the other day of just how lucky for myself I used to have over 220,000 and I paid off the loan that was just fully in my name. What's left is just the Parent Plus loan, which my mother took out on behalf of my education. Again, I understand the privilege that I have in being able to have my mom do that. It's not normal. Not everyone's parents are willing to do that for them. But we had made an agreement that I'm paying it off. Like I am responsible for it and I want to do my mom right and pay it off as soon as possible because at the end of the day, it is a liability for her too. And it does impact like her ability to get different types of loans or her credit score, which it doesn't impact it that much anymore. But, you know, I really don't want anything to be like happen because of this debt that I have. That she has basically in my name for me sort of thing. So if we take the assets, which is $121,836, and then we add in the liabilities, which is basically negative $179,824, we get negative $57,988. Yes, I have almost a $58,000 negative net worth as a 27-year-old. So yeah, that sucks. But I mean, I don't know, what do you want me to tell you? It just is what it is, right? And I hope that I can improve that significantly. Actually, this year, I've improved it by $20,361. If you guys watch Dear Debt here on YouTube, I will link her in the description box below, but she has a free Excel, like Google sheet actually, that she doesn't sell. It's completely free and I've been using it for 2 years that will help you track your net worth. And I will post a picture here of basically just the improvement I've had just for 2024 and that I've already improved it by $20,000 this year, which is wild. If we keep up that sort of trend, you know, I will easily be in the positive net worth somewhere in the middle of next year, which is kind of crazy to think. But if the investments keep going up and I keep saving the way I'm saving and investing the way I'm investing and paying off the way I'm paying off debt, I think it's a pretty easy goal. As we look into the next 6 months of the year, you know, I really do want to max out my Roth IRA, which again, to go, we have about $4,145, which if you break that down, it's about $691 per month left. And then I do want to pay off my remaining credit card debt. And then I don't want to spend any of my high yield savings account interest. I'm just going to kind of see it and forget it. I do see it every month. I do like to look. I'm always curious, but I just leave it in the account it goes into with a little bucket. And at the end of the year, I'll either put it towards, I'm just like reading off my notes here, towards my Roth IRA or other sinking funds or potential reserve fund in 2025. And I do want to continue to increase my net worth and get closer and closer to zero of a net worth as possible. My goal for next year, spoiler, will be to get my net worth to zero. Like, let's just get to $0, baby. If we can do that, and that means if I were to sell all of my assets, it will pay off all of my liabilities, which is basically my student loan debt. I will not do that. Don't worry, I will not be doing that because it will serve me better to just leave it and pay off my student loan debt. So continuing on for the rest of the next 6 months, I really just want to build up my, I guess it's an additional goal, but it's more just like a sinking fund, just kind of giving you guys my thought process here, is to really build up my 2025 vacation fund to about $2,000. I think I'm going to add that as a goal. And it's about at $420 today. So it's about $1,580 to go for the rest of the year, which is about $264 a month. And then I broke it down by paycheck because I get paid twice a month, about $132, which when you break it down that way, it doesn't seem like a really like crazy lofty goal. And then the last and final thing to really just continue focusing on is living my life, you know, enjoying it. Maybe spending a little bit more on fun and entertainment or eating out than I normally do. Nothing crazy because I'm pretty good and I have goals, got financial goals, but you know, there are definitely things that I should say yes to and not have to worry about the price because I've got it covered in my savings, my sinking funds specifically. And I just need to remember I'm young, I don't have kids, I'm not married, and this is really the time to enjoy it before all of those things like really come into play. So that was a lot. I hope you enjoyed a little bit more insight into my life and my mid-year check-in, specifically for like the financial aspect of my life. I appreciate you all for watching. Leave me a comment below on what you thought and you know, what your goals are for the rest of the year. I mean, at this point, we only have about 5.5 months left, which is wild. But leave me a comment below. Let me know what your goals are, at least for the rest of 2024. What are you hoping to accomplish? And I will see you all in my next video very soon. Bye, everyone.